Kiki Beho, the resident coordinator of the United Nations activities in Namibia. Good evening, ma'am, and welcome to Talk of the Nation.
Pleased to be here.
Secondly, I'd like to introduce to you Advocate Beans Governess, our social commentator, but also specifically here this evening as the special advisor to the Minister of Health in Namibia and also a former Commissioner of Social Affairs at the African Union. Good evening, Advocate, and welcome to Talk of the Nation.
Good evening, Hilda. It's good to be back.
Very good. You're always a welcome guest on this program. Finally, we have Mr. Sandy Sharonda, who's representing the Namibian Non-Governmental Forum tonight. He is the chairman of the Nangov Trust. Good evening, sir. Welcome to Talk of the Nation.
Good evening. It's good to be here.
Very good. I'd like to start by asking you to reflect back just very quickly and tell us your personal take on the ending of the MDGs and what you thought about what it achieved.
I think that something remarkable happened in 2000. 189 countries came together and they agreed that they needed to have poverty, that they needed to improve the welfare of almost 2 billion people who were considered poor. And they came up with 8 goals that were specific, that were measurable. And fast forward to today, 2015, we find that half of that number are no longer poor. We find that every day 17,000 children run around just because of interventions that reduced under 5 mortality. We find that 3.3 million lives have been saved because of malaria interventions. We find that millions of kids are going to school, half of them girls, all because of these Millennium Development Goals. Is the job over? No. And that's why we're looking for the SDGs.
Absolutely. Very clear. Advocate Governess?
When I reflect back, I remember coming to the AU in 2003, which was basically 3 years after the adoption of the MDGs. And throughout the work at the AU, we were definitely informed by the MDGs. That was part of the policy frameworks that we have developed, you know, the instruments that we have adopted at the AU. But more than anything else, I think what has happened is that the MDGs made it possible for the world to start focusing on the forgotten issues, of putting people at the center of our development discourse. I think that was one of the biggest achievements. Secondly, I want to believe also that it, for the first time, brought together private sector, public sector, NGOs around a common agenda. Yes. And that is the agenda that has really informed the world over. I think that's what I would say, what the MDGs were for me.
Mr. Sharonda?
Yeah, I think they have said it all, but I think one important thing is obviously that the MDGs have designed a framework that help us to be able to articulate our interventions collectively as a globe, because we are in this big village that everybody must be concerned about what is happening. And it actually broke the boundaries and the barriers that the world was looking at things through that lens of me and against them. But I think currently we are looking at each other as a global village that needs to work and to implement together.